The Ukrainian army has carried out missile and drone strikes on the city of Donetsk, which is under occupation, local Telegram channels reported. One of the strikes hit the area of a currently non-operational metallurgical plant, causing an explosion. According to the Ukrainian side, a command post of the occupying forces is located on the plant's premises, and air defense systems were unable to intercept the strikes. The Russian side, however, claims the missiles were shot down. No information has been reported about casualties.
Пошел, вон он.
The main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine has thwarted the plans of Russian occupiers to break through to the administrative border with the Dnipropetrovsk region. This was reported by the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense of Ukraine. According to the main intelligence directorate of the Ministry of Defense, fighters from the Brotherhood Unit, which is part of the Timur Special Forces of the Ukrainian military intelligence, took part in repelling the enemy's attempt to break through to the administrative border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. The Russian occupiers wanted to infiltrate the Ukrainian armed forces positions with small infantry groups and take up positions in the houses. There, they wanted to accumulate forces to further attacks on Ukrainian positions. The Brotherhood fighters destroyed the Russian occupiers with drone strikes. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russian occupiers tried to break through to the administrative border with the Dnipropetrovsk region in the Novopavlovsk direction. Recently, Russia has captured 2 villages in Ukraine's southeastern Dnipropetrovsk region. Ukrainian open-source researchers confirmed on Tuesday as Kremlin troops press an offensive amid a stalling diplomatic effort to end the war. Ukraine's outmanned and outgunned military has struggled to fend off grinding Russian advances in much of the east as Moscow increases pressure on Kiev to give up territory in any peace negotiations. Russian forces now occupy the villages of Zaporizhzhia and Novohyoriivka, according to Deep State, a group tracking battlefield developments. Moscow's defense ministry had previously reported capturing both villages. Russians have entered there and are attempting to establish a foothold. Ukrainian military spokesperson Viktor Trehubov told Reuters, referring to Zaporizhzhia and Novohyoriivka, "Our forces are fighting to maintain their positions." Russian forces said in July they had taken their first village in Dnipropetrovsk, which is not among the 5 Ukrainian regions Russia has claimed as its own territory. Deep State's map shows at least 2 other Dnipropetrovsk villages either occupied or the site of fighting comparatively minuscule areas in the region of over 31,000 square kilometers. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had previously dismissed the significance of Russia's push into the region, describing it last month as aimed at achieving a media victory. Panic-stricken reports about an emergency in the occupied Luhansk region are being spread on Russian Z channels. According to anonymous sources, about 300 prisoners who had previously been recruited into assault units of the Russian army have escaped from a military training ground in the so-called LNR, maximum attention. About 300 stormtroopers escaped from the training ground in the LNR, all from the penal colonies. I can't say anything about weapons, but maximum attention. Warn everyone as much as possible. They won't necessarily advance in a crowd. Keep that in mind too, the message says. Although there is no official confirmation of this information yet, such cases have been recorded more than once. The Russian practice of sending convicts to the front, including for serious crimes, regularly leads to escapes within the aggressor's troops. Recruitment of prisoners became widespread back in 2022 when the founder of the Wagner PMC, Yevgeny Prigozhin, personally visited prisons and agitated convicts to join the ranks of mercenaries. In exchange, they were promised amnesty and cash payments. Later, after Prigozhin's mutiny and the actual defeat of Wagner, this scheme was completely adopted by the Russian Defense Ministry. It was this practice that became one of the factors in the disintegration of the Russian army. People without military experience and motivation were sent to the front, which led to huge losses and an increase in the criminalization of troops. Over time, regular units were mixed with criminals, which sharply undermined combat effectiveness and increased chaos in the command. The incident in Luhansk is yet another confirmation that the military mobilization system in Russia is bursting at the seams. The mass escape of hundreds of armed people in the occupied territory poses a threat not only to the local population but also to the Russian occupation structures themselves. Experts say that prisoners and criminals of the Russian army will drown Russia in a wave of crime. Federal government sources admit that even now, the system is struggling to cope with the influx of men returning from the front, many of whom suffer from post-traumatic stress disorder, alcoholism, and aggression. If thousands of people return at once, the system will simply collapse, says one official. In Russia, there are practically no specialized rehabilitation centers or narrow-profile psychologists. Attempts to train students for this work do not inspire confidence even among the officials themselves. A senior, shell-shocked military man will not listen to a young student, the Ministry of Labor states. According to Fari Daily sources, the first year after the end of the war will be a year of mass drinking binges, a surge in violence and domestic crimes. A sharp increase in murders and serious crimes committed by former military personnel is already being recorded. According to the investigation by Verstka, in just 3 years of war, the heroes of the SVO killed and maimed more than 750 people. 378 people died, 376 were seriously injured. Most often, these crimes are associated with drunken domestic conflicts. The geography of the crimes covers 80 Russian regions, including annexed Crimea and Sevastopol. I'm a hero, I fought for you, and you are rear rats. With such aggression, many of them return home. They consider society to be indebted to them, but instead of gratitude, they face reality and take it out on their loved ones.